Well, amongst all the issues affecting the United States at the moment, and as the Americans prepare to vote in the midterms, which could determine the makeup of the Senate and whether the Republicans or the Democrats hold control, President Biden has identified the key issue that Americans are voting on, apparently. The first piece of legislation he wants in place if the Democrats take control of the Senate. Let's check it out. So, one of the interesting things to watch as the US prepare for the midterm elections in November is whether voters are more concerned about the economy and rocketing petrol and food prices, about crime, the crisis at the border, the threat of war with the Russians, or even maybe North Korea. Or are they concerned about the right to kill the unborn child? Well, according to recent polling by the New York Times, it's the former issues. You can see there, economy, inflation, right up there, abortion right down, but not for President Biden or the Democrats. Here, according to the Democrats and President Biden, is the key issue.
I believe Congress should codify Roe once and for all. That's why in these midterm elections are so critical, elect more Democratic senators to the United States Senate and more Democrats to keep control of the House of Representatives. Here's the promise I make to you and the American people. The first bill that I will send to the Congress will be to codify Roe v. Wade.
Oh, how wonderful. Let's take away the rights of the unborn child. And this has been reiterated in a recent interview once again. And of course, as we've seen in New Zealand's media coverage, the mainstream media love abortion. And so it was a media celebrating all the noises being made by Biden in this interview.
You said you're for, Mr. President, is codifying Roe. You've
Yes.
said you need 51 or 53 seats in the Senate in order to make that happen. But what happens if Republicans take control of Congress? How are you going to protect women?
Veto anything they do. They have to get for them to make Dobbs, for them to outlaw Roe, outlaw the right of a woman to make a choice with her doctor, to not make exceptions for rape and incest and et cetera, and pass it out of the Congress to make it the law of the land. The president has to sign it. I'll veto it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how wonderful. I'll veto the rights of the unborn child. Although, to be fair, you'll see there, Biden did almost fall asleep during that particular interview and had to be woken up by the interviewer. Here's a bit where he just about nodded off.
Regulations kick in, and I treat myself as a candidate from that moment on. I have not made that formal decision, but it's my intention to run again. And we have time to make that decision.
Dr. Biden is for it. Mr. President. Oh,
Dr. Biden thinks that, my wife thinks that we're doing something very important. And
doing something very important. Hopefully, if some radical abortion law does cross his desk, he'll fall asleep and not sign it. But President Biden and the Democrats want to put into rock-solid legislation a radical abortion law, just like New Zealand's, back to Roe v. Wade. No rights for the unborn child, no consideration of harm to the mother who has the abortion. And look, when they say about exceptions for rape and incest, here's the simple response when a pro-abortionist says that. Okay, so if we allow for abortions for rape and for incest, you'll oppose all other abortions? Yeah? Well, of course, you know the response to that. They'll say no. They want abortion at any time for any reason. The rape and the incest issue, which accounts for about 0.2% of abortions in New Zealand, is simply a manipulation of the debate by elevating the absolutely exceptional and hard case. And look, having interviewed people who have been the result of rape and were given life and are pro-life as can be, shows just how disingenuous that argument is when being used by pro-abortionists. Look, President Biden and the Democrats want a radical abortion law again, just like New Zealand's. And New Zealand's is radical, one of the most radical in the world. Go to our website, chooselife.org.nz. you'll see the evidence of just how radical our law is, although the media and the pro-death politicians will try and hide that. We have late-term abortion, just with a couple of ticks from approving abortion doctors. No explicit born alive provision, no fetal pain provision, no provision to recognise coercion, no parental notification. There's been a watering down of freedom of conscience rights for health practitioners, no ban on sex-selective abortions, and the gestational time limit for disabilities has been removed. It's a shocker. And look, it's the key reason why the unborn child will be shouting the loudest and happiest if the Democrats don't win control of the Senate. Here's a bottom line. If a politician can't vote to protect the unborn child, and if they don't understand biology and the difference between a biological woman and a man, then why would you trust them with any other decision affecting society? Biology 101 is a prerequisite for good decision making. And Biden and the Democrats get an F- for this.